Hey, grinders. It's Blenderhd. Jordan Cooper here to show you today how to better use LineupHQ on RotoGrinders. Since it's free today, all the features are free today. We have this FanDuel free roll, 150 lineups. You could put in one, 150, but since it's free, why not put in 150? And there's a forum thread on the RG forum as well as in the chat. D-Train will put it in the chat to go sign up for that. It's a free roll giving out $1,000 worth of prizes, some RG swag, and the build that I'm doing on this show for 150 lineups on FanDuel, I'm actually just gonna I'm throwing it in. I'm throwing it in, and if any of them hit, I'll just give away the prizes on Twitter or something, because no shenanigans going on. That we're creating the best lineups on this show, and then no one else gets a chance to win. So everyone has a chance for a payday that's watching the show. But I wanted to show some of the features of LineupHQ that I use on a regular basis, and the process that I use in order to create stacks. Because if you're not stacking, you're not winning in GPP. I'm primarily a large field GPP player, and I could play sometimes 50 lineups, sometimes 100 lineups, sometimes 150 lineups, depending on the payout structures and the context types. So showing you how to get the right stacks that you want and the diversification in the lineups, so you have more of a chance of winning first place, because that's the real goal of GPPs. These top-heavy payout structures, if you're not coming in the top 5, top 10, at least maybe even 1 or 2 times a season, this is they're really negative EV contests. You're wasting your money if you're trying to just hit the cash line. So I want to show on LineupHQ, which I have brought up right here, and all the premium features today are unlocked. So you get some of the, Cheese's core plays, the cash pool, the GPP pool. Mr. Tuttle has the salary relief. We have plate IQ scores. We got, all the ownership, all of everything. So just to go through some of it, one of the first things that I do in LineupHQ that a lot of people don't do is LineupHQ is an optimizer. It's just a computer script. It's going to do what you tell it to do. So it's only going to be as smart as the person using it. So before, I don't just look at a slate. I just glance at a slate, barely look at it, and then go into LineupHQ and start making work. I try to plan in advance. So one of the things that I do, because I don't want to get players in my lineups that I don't want to play for a strategic reason. So one of the first things I do in LineupHQ is I exclude everyone. I just say, screw it. I want to exclude all the players. You can see right in the options. You can include all, exclude all, and even if there's a guy in the lineup that hasn't been updated in LineupHQ yet, you can even add them that doesn't have a projection in there. And the projection source that I'm using today is the Bat from Derek Carty, which is an addition, which actually there's a mid-season special going on. And you could use the RotoGrinders standard projections. You could also, purchase the number ball projections by Jeff Collins here. You could use whatever. You could upload your own projections. So if you have a CSV and everything with all your projections, you could put them in here as well. So you're not just limited by that. But one of the main things about projections is that the optimizer, like if we go to the excluded tab, like the optimizer is going to look primarily at point per dollar. Like it's trying to make the best lineups for you that have the highest projected score. So the key column on building your lineups is this point per dollar column right here, because it's going to prioritize the ones that have a higher point per dollar projection. So these projections right here from the bat, like on FanDuel right now, highest projected point per dollar is G-Man Choi at first base for 2,400. So if you don't do anything, let's say, you're just, you're trying to make 150 lineups and you want just optimal builds, you may get like 80% Choi. And if you don't want 80% Choi, he's currently projected to be 15% owned. Like, you don't need to. Like, don't let the optimizer do things that you don't want it to do. So that's one of the main reasons why I exclude everyone first and then go through and decide what players that I want to play. So now I'm on the exclude screen. Since on FanDuel, the optimal constructions for GPP for large field are going to be 4-4 and 4-3-1 constructions. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start selecting my stacks. right? So I need to go team by team and go, who do I want to play in my stacks? What teams do I want to play? I'm making 150 lineups, so I don't need to just have 3 teams. I could have 8, 9, 10 teams. You could even play with 20 teams if you want. But of course, realize the more amount of stacks that you have in your 150 lineup combination in your pool, the less, the more, the thinner that your lineups are going to be. So if you try to play every team, you may only have 3 or 4 lineups that have that team stack, and then also with another team stack. So if you're playing 4-4, like Yankees, Diamondbacks, like you may not even have any combinations if you're trying to play like every single stack that you have out there. So going through today, I'm just doing this as an example. I haven't necessarily researched the whole slate, but one of the main things that I'm looking at based on my projections, which is the bat from Cardi, is looking at the point per dollar option. And I'm looking for like 4 or 5 players from each team, especially ones that fill scarce positions, such as like shortstop, middle infield positions. FanDuel is a little bit easier because you don't have to play a catcher and you have a utility slot. So you can play pretty much anyone. So I'm going through and I'm going to go, okay, what stacks do I like? Okay, Arrieta. Oh, I may want to pick on Arrieta. So I like, Inciarte. I know he's batting 8th, but he's minimum price, so that could be good, especially if I'm playing a expensive starting pitcher. So I'm going to go through the Atlanta lineup. Who do I like? I like Freeman. You get the platoon advantage. Maybe I got to put in Donaldson. Probably got to play Acuna in that stack. So I'm going to do that, and then Inciarte, and then maybe Swanson because he's in a shortstop spot. So I got 5. I got I got 1, 2, 3, 4. McCann just got added, so get rid of that guy. So I got 5 guys there. I'm not only going to be able to make 4 people in this stack, but at least I could fill multiple positions with that stack. So, okay, so I got 5 Atlanta guys. So now I'm going to go through, like Tropiano's horrible. And if you take a look at the ownership here, which you get in LineupHQ, like Baltimore is going to be very low owned. Look at this. VR's going to have some ownership, but all these other guys are pretty nothing. So maybe I want to have Baltimore. Maybe I do. So let's see. Shortstop VR. That's a good, fills a scarce position. Maybe I want Dwight Smith in there. Maybe I want Francisco. He's a catcher. He'll be low on because of it. Get some Cisco. Get some Santander. And Chris Davis is really cheap. Let's hope he's in. I'll grab that. Okay. So right now in my player pool, when I go to all, which is all the people that I have in there, I got 5 Baltimore players. Okay, so let's keep on doing this. I'll do this very, very quickly. Let's see. Boston doesn't project all that well based on point per dollar. Chicago isn't all that great. I'm looking down at like 3 points. I'm looking for like high 3 points and 4-point scores. So going down here. Okay, we got obviously against Adrian Woods or whatever his name, the LA guys. Okay, so maybe we want to take some of those guys, and then we got the Dodgers against Anibal Sanchez. Seems like I want to get lefties there. So let me grab Peterson, Verdugo, Bellinger, Muncy, Seager. Okay, all the lefty guys. Okay, so now I got 3 stacks in there. Let's say I want to attack Hendricks. I'm not saying that you should, but let's say you do. So I'm going to take Thames. I'm going to take here is 2.1. That's a very low projection. I'm going to take Yelich, Grandal, Moustakas, and Kane. I'm taking a lot of 5th guys, if you see, just for the sake of having diversification in my stack. So I give myself options. If you just take 4 guys, they'll have to be in every Brugger stack. They'll have to be in every team stack. Now, if I take all 8 or 9 guys, that means unless I'm making like 20 different stacks of them, like I'm going to just be way too thin. So I really just want to take the players that I want in my stacks. Now, some people have a different approach and they just play as many of the people as possible, and you can do that. But my personal approach is that I'm going to go with 4, 5, 6 guys on FanDuel for a 4-man stack and leave it at that. And if I happen to have a guy not in the stack that goes off, then so be it. And I lose that day. Okay, Minnesota against Kyle Cease. Okay, let's take Kepler, Polanco, Cruz, Rosario, Sano. Okay, let's the Mets against Agrizol. Okay, let's go. No one's going to play Ramos, catcher eligible. Frazier, McNeil, Conforto, Cano, and I got to throw in Alonso. Okay, there's 6 guys there. Okay. Then we got the Yankees against Cashner. Okay, let's go. DJ LeMahieu, Judge, Hicks, Encarnacion, Gregorius. I'm not going to attack Lynn. Not going to attack Wheeler. Seattle against Norris. I'm going to take J.P. Crawford, Narvaez, Vogelbach, Tim Beckham, Kyle Seager. Okay, keep on going down. We're just grabbing people. Oh, Tampa Bay looks pretty good. Lowe, Pham, Garcia. Let's take Adames. He's cheap. Choi, because he's in there. Maybe Meadows as well. They have very good projections if you take a look here. Maybe even Wendell. He's really cheap at second base. Take that. Texas doesn't look all that great. Oh, Toronto against Castillo. Okay, let's, well, Drury is kind of a weird guy. I want Vlad. I want Galvis, Grichuk, Smoke. Maybe one other guy. Let's throw in Drury in there. Why not? Okay. So we got a whole bunch of teams. We got what? How many stacks do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 10 stacks. We got 10 stacks going on. Okay, now we start going through for one-offs. What one-off players do we want? Okay, so I'm gonna sort by point per dollar. I'm just gonna trust the projections and go, okay, let's see. Tyler Austin is cheap at 2.1. Maybe Kendrick is catcher. Yeah, the first base eligible. Shohei Ohtani, and take some maybe Hunter Renfroe against Samardzija. Upton, take another Angels outfielder, Cole Calhoun. We could go through it. Framil Reyes, we'll grab that. Dozier at a second base position, that's pretty good. Wrong Martinez. I wanted to take JD Martinez. We got Soto. How about Turner could be in the Dodger stack? Why not? So we keep on going through. Okay, how about Gordon against that? AJ Pollock maybe. Nick Castellanos against Kikuchi. So we're going through. This is just planning everything out. So I got 64 players. Maybe grab one more person. Okay, there's JD Martinez. Got to get my money back on him. Okay, so we got 65 players in the pool. Those are all my hitters. Now I'm going to do the same thing at pitcher. So go to the excluded tab. I'm going to go up, looking point per dollar, look at K props. You can see the umpire information, all this type of stuff. Now, one of the important things about planning out your lineups is you can't play expensive stacks and expensive pitchers and think the lineup builder could give you a magical like $70K salary. So you got to take pitchers at multiple price points. So maybe I want to take some Kikuchi, some Daniel Norris, some Joey Lucchesi. Maybe I want to take expensive pitchers and Lynn and Greinke. Maybe I want to play Pineda against the White Sox. The White Sox are horrible, so let's go. I'm looking at like plate IQ scores, whatever. Look, his prop is 6.5. So I'm going to take some Pineda. Maybe is anyone going to play Flaherty against the Astros? Maybe not. He's 4% owned. I'll give it a shot. Why not? Urquidy, that guy. He's probably going to be a little bit popular. Get that guy. Okay. So a whole bunch of pitchers. In there. Maybe I take Samardzija against the Padres. Okay. So now we go to pitchers. We have all these pitchers here that you're going to play in your pool. So those are the only players that are going to be in there. You don't have to worry about going in and finding, Jacob Junis in a lineup somewhere that you don't want to play. You don't want to go in. You're going to find, Zach Green somewhere, just in no man's land. Only the guys that you want to play. And you can take a look and see how diversified you are in each position. So look, I got enough catcher, first baseman. I don't have enough second baseman. So look, I got only 4 second basemen in here. So if I'm going to create 150 lineups, these guys are going to be in a lot of them. So maybe I go into excluded. I go, maybe I need to take a couple of more second basemen, even as one-off. So I'm going to take Bote. I'm going to take maybe David Fletcher. Maybe take Kipnis. I mean, I would think more about who I'm taking, but this is just an example. So now I'm going to go back. Oh, I got enough second basemen. Do I got enough third basemen? Sure. Do I got enough shortstops? Yeah, I got enough shortstops. Do I got enough outfielders? Yeah, I got enough outfielders. Okay, so we're good. We got enough to make diversified lineups. Okay, so now we plan stuff out. This is the planning phase. Make sure you plan. So now I'm gonna go in, and since we're gonna be stacking teams, I'm going into build rules. Now, some of these build rules we'll get to. So like number of lineups reduced, 20. No, we're going full hog. This free tournament on FanDuel, if you go into the RotoGrinders forum, you'll see the link. You can enter that contest. You can play 1 to 150 lineups. I see no reason, since it's free, not to just play 150 lineups. So let's raise this sucker to 150. I know the computer servers at RotoGrinders are going to go crazy during the show. Everyone's making 150 lineups at once. Let's do it. Okay. Now, the number of unique players is that, like, if I set that to 1, that means I could have lineups with like 8 of the same guys and like 1 guy different. And like, that's not enough diversification. If you were making less lineups, if you were making less stacks, I could see doing that. But typically I set it somewhere around 3. So maybe the pitcher's different and 2 other guys are different. You're primarily making 4-4 and 4-3-1 stacks. So you kind of, and you have 5 guys out of each team. So you kind of want your lineups to be somewhat different, that you don't want them to compete against each other too much, where, you know, you have 5 lineups that are practically all the same, except for like one of the one-offs. And either like you come in 1st, 2nd, 4th, 8th, and 11th, or you come in like 16,000 and below. So you want to have some amount of diversification. Also from the salary, you don't want to necessarily use all your salary, because then you're limiting yourself, that it's going to start forcing in players that you don't necessarily, that it won't be diversified. So maybe I'll put it down to so it's 300 less, 34.7. Okay. We'll get to the range of outcomes in a little bit. Right now, when both of them are set at 0%, the optimizer is basically going to jam in the highest point per dollar plays no matter what. It's not going to vary whatsoever. So I want to show what happens when it does that, and then when we don't do that, as an example. So now the main thing, the main screen you're going to be dealing with is hitter stacks, because that's what it all comes down to. So right now on LineupHQ, we have quick stacks. Makes it much easier. You get to select what types of stacks that you want. I want 4-4s and 4-3s, which are 4-3-1s. And let's say I want 50% 4-4s and 50% 4-3-1s. Okay, so I just get to put it right there. It makes it very easy. If I want other stack types, I could do that there. And now on the stack type percentages, I could set the max percentages of the stacks that are in play. So let's say we have, I want a lot of Dodger stacks, 20% Dodger stacks. We have some Atlanta. I want 15% Atlanta. Try to make them add up to 100, so you know it's somewhere close to what you want them to be at. And we can see information on this hitter stack screen that'll show you the average projected ownership and the price of the stacks. Okay, so you can kind of relate and go, okay, if they're going to be 10% owned, I want to be double the field, 20% on them. Atlanta's going to be 9% owned. Now maybe I want to be even with the field, so that's 10%. I got some Tampa Bay. They're going to be, I want to be over the field. I want to be 10% on that. Toronto, I maybe over the field over there. We got some Met stacks. Maybe I don't like them that much. So 5%. We got some, do we get Yankees? Who else do we have? We have some Milwaukee. Oh, they're going to be really low on. So maybe I only want 5% of that. We go through, we find all the stacks that we're going to play. Maybe Baltimore at 10. Do we have Detroit, Seattle? Who else did we play? I don't even remember who we're playing. 1, 2. Who else? So we go back to the player pool and see exactly what teams I'm leaving out for no reason. Washington. Do we got some? We don't have Tampa, Seattle. Oh, we got Seattle, the Yankees. Seattle, Yankees. Yeah, let's go back to Seattle and the Yankees. So Yankees, where are they? Where the hell are the Yankees? Well, I can see where Seattle is. So we get 10% on Seattle and 10% on the Yankees. Okay, so now we're up to 90%. You see the exposure percentages right here, 90%, 0%. So I'm going to bump up a little. Atlanta to 12, Tampa Bay to 14, maybe Milwaukee to 6, just to even it out a little, 11, just for example purposes. Are we up to 99%? Okay, let's Tampa Bay to 15. Okay, we're at 100%. Now, the optimizer is going to try to come as close as possible to these percentages. Obviously, based on the players that you have in your pool and the settings that you have, it may not be exact, but it'll try to give you the ratio of this. Okay, so now we've not dealt with any individual max player exposures. So right now, I'm just like, give me 50% 4-4s, give me 50% 4-3s with the pitchers and the players that I have in my pool. So just for argument's sake, I'm going to build 150 lineups. It's going to take a minute or two, and I could go through some of this other stuff. Okay, so remember the range of outcomes. Okay, now it can't even build that many stacks. Okay, it's that bad. I haven't given it enough information. Okay, so let's go back to build rules. Maybe not use running exposure percentages. prioritize lineups over max exposure. Okay, I got that up. Okay, let's see what we're doing. Are we constraining it too much? And every build that you make in LineupHQ gets saved. So yeah, it's trying to jam in twins for no apparent reason. So you'll see build 1, build 2. So let's say you want to create 20 lineups at a time. Like you could create 20 and then have those 20 saved. You could create 20 and have those saved. You can have all the builds that you have saved and go from there. So let me delete this build, delete that build. Let me go with build rules. Let me increase the range of outcomes. Let me increase the range of outcomes there. And let me go, for argument's sake, I could set the primary stack max percentage as a global setting. So maybe this is too constraining. I'm trying to get way too little of each, and it's trying to build a little too in each. So let's just go 100%. So 100%, that's the max. Doesn't mean it'll create that much, but that's going to be enough. So okay, so let's build 150 lineups now. Okay, now here we're going. Let's see what it spits out. It's going to be based on the projections that you have in there. Okay. And I know people are asking about the min-max tool for individual players. We'll get to it. I do that after I do this. I want to see, based on the projections, what are the highest scoring stacks and teams. Okay, so there we see right there, 150 lineups, and it'll show you all your player exposures with the projected ownership percentage. You could also go into stack summary, and you could see the teams that you've used. 4-hitter stacks, how many percentage of lineups, how many 3-hitter stacks, percentage there. You could even see the comp. Well, it won't even show the combo. So player exposures. So based on the projections right now, you see you get a lot of Ohtani because he's projected well. You get a lot of G-Man Choi. Okay? So like I could even click on one of these players and get just the lineups on this side that have that player. So like right now, the top lineup right here is Kikuchi with a Dodger stack and 2 Brave and Rays and Dodgers and everything right here. So you go through over here. But let's say I want to find, let's say all the way at the bottom, I'm like, oh, I got Jose Urquidy in only one lineup. So I want to see that lineup. So I click on that percentage and I could see this lineup and see where he is. Maybe I want more Urquidy. How do you pronounce that guy's name? Urquidy? I don't even know. So let's say you want more of him. Okay. So now you can see the search field. I'm going to X that out so I could get all my lineups right there. So I could sort this player exposure by position. So I'm going to go to pitchers now. And I'm going to see what percentage of pitchers that I'm getting here. So let's say I want more Urquidy. Urquidy. Someone tell me how to pronounce that name. Urquidy. Let's say I want to make sure to have at least 5% of them. So that's where I'll go into the min-max exposure. I could go on it right on the lineup screen. I don't have to go back to my player pool. I can do it right here. I can even X people out if I want. So let's say I want 5% at least of them. Let's say I'm getting way too much Kikuchi. I'm getting 17% Kikuchi. I only want 10% Kikuchi. Maybe I want under the field in Greinke. So maybe I get 15% of that. I want to be over the field, way over on Lance Lynn, for instance, for leverage. So this is where I would set min-max exposures. And I could also do that at my batters. 55% Ohtani seems a bit high. It seems way too high. So let's say he's projected to be 14% owned. And let's say I do want to be over the field on him, but not like dramatically so. So like 20%. Maybe I like G-Man Choi, but I don't want to be dramatically over the field. But I am playing Tampa Bay stacks, so maybe 25%. Turner, I got way too much of. I set him at 20%. I got too much also. I got too many of these guys here. Too much Bellinger. So I'm starting to cap my ownership to what I want. Like Adames, 3% owned, but I have 37% of them. Do I really want to be 12 times the field on Adames? No. Maybe I want to be 5 times the field. So there's 15%. So I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to go, okay, I don't mind Muncy. He's a scarce position. Go there. I start going through all this. You can do it for every player if you want, but the main thing is I'm looking at the top and going, way too much of these guys. I don't want this much of these players. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to regenerate lineups. I'm going to see what happens. Most of the times when I'm using LineupHQ, I'm generating lineups a minimum of 20 times. Minimum. just to get the exposures that I'm looking to get strategically in the lineups that I'm playing and get the diversification I want. I don't want Ohtani to be in over half my lineups, and then when I could play, Justin Upton or another Angels outfielder or another outfielder of a similar price range, because I don't want them to compete against each other in very similar lineups. People are trying to correct it. People are spelling out Yerquity, but they're not pronouncing it, so I can't really tell. And this is just for FanDuel. Remember, on DraftKings, you can make 5-man stacks. So on DraftKings, I make 5-man stacks on big contests all the time. So, okay, now we got another build. So here's build 2. Let's see what happens. Now, because I've lowered the percentages, you can see Cody Bellinger, 20%. Ohtani, 20%. It's now giving me less of them. But now it's obviously giving me more of other guys, right? Let's say I don't want Cano, 41%. I don't want 20% there. I like Freeman today. Maybe I want to be way over the field, 35%. VR, maybe I don't want 31% of them. I like the Brave stack, so maybe I don't mind a lot of Donaldson. Tommy Pham, compared to his ownership, maybe I don't want that much. Only 20, max 20. Upton, maybe max 20. I'm starting to condense. Avisel Garcia, maybe I don't want that much of him at all, 10%. Lance Lynn, I want as much Lance Lynn as I could get, so I'm just going to leave it as 100 as his max. Acuna looks fine, 25%, if I want to be over the field on it. So I'm going through and I'm doing it again. I'm going through, is there anything here? Let's go to starting pitchers. I'm going here. It's like, yep, I'm way over the field on Lynn. I'm over the field on Lucchesi. I got my 15% Greinke that I want. And maybe I don't have enough flair. Oh, it's only in 2 lineups. There's only 2 lineups. I know it's not the greatest of matchups against the Astros, but maybe I want at least 5% of them. Okay? And this is another situation where you could go into groups. Now, I know on FanDuel, you only play one pitcher, so you're never really playing pitchers against each other. But on DraftKings, I would, because only one of them could potentially get the win bonus. So I could see going to groups and making sure that, they're not both together. But let's say, for instance, let's go to all positions. We see all these players. Let's say I want to make sure that I don't have a certain player. Let's say I don't want to play, for instance, like we have this setup right here. I just want to show you. Max batters versus opposing pitcher. So when that's set to 0, that means none of the batters that you play will be against the pitcher that you have in your lineup. If you set that to 1, that means you could have, if you're playing Anibal Sanchez, you could have Sanchez and Bellinger in the same lineup. Typically, that limits your upside in GPP. So setting this to 0, typically, unless it's a really small slate, if it's like a 3-game slate, you may want to, because the pitchers may not do well and the guy may hit a home run anyway. But let's say, for instance, just as an example, I go to player groups and I don't want, for whatever reason, or let's say it's superstition. I'm not saying this is strategically. I don't want to have Vladimir Guerrero and Brian Dozier in the same lineup. For instance, there's no reason not to, but let's just say, for instance, I could use a group to make sure that none of my lineups have either or. Players to use, 0 min, 1 max. So that means, now if I set it as 2, that means it's fine, right? Both of them could be in the same lineup. If I wanted to make sure to use at least one of them, I could do min 1, max 2, or min 1, max 1. But I don't want 100% of one of these guys. So let's say for some reason I don't want these 2 guys in the same lineup together. They won't be in here. Let's say you have a lot of outfielders together. Let's say I have Calhoun and Ohtani. Did I add Upton to the lineup? Okay, Upton. Okay, got 3 outfielders here. You can start typing in any name you want into this box over here. Let's say I don't want all 3. Like I'm doing a 4-3-1 stack, but I don't want all 3 outfielders in the outfield slots. Let's say at max I want 2. So I'll set this group and I'll use player to use minimum 1, maximum 2, which means no lineups will have all 3 at the same time. So this is what you could use groups for. And you could get creative as you want. You could either do it somewhat strategically, like with this 3 outfielder group, or maybe you just have a superstition that these 2 guys can't be in the same lineup. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. So you go in there, and let's say we're going to create even more lineups, okay? We go to the My Lineup screen. Got these 2 builds. Let's save them there. Why not? Let's build another 150 lineups and see what happens. One of the main things about planning it out is that, like, if you're going to play expensive stacks, you need cheap pitchers. If you're going to play cheap stacks, you want expensive pitchers, unless you want to leave 4,000 on the table. So that's why planning it out is more important. Okay, now we got the 150. Now, here we go. Look at all these Braves. You got Brave, because I wanted to be over the field on the Braves. I'm not saying that you should be on this specific slate. It's just an example. So we start seeing lineups here. We start seeing a Rays, kind of Rays, Mets, Angels kind of stack here. We got Braves 1, 2, 3, 4. Brave stack there. Dodgers stack. Dodgers, Rays. We go through here. Okay, let's go back to build rules. You could even do players per team, but if you're doing stacks, you don't even need this screen. But the main screens that you're going to be working with are these screens. The header stacks and the My Lineups page. Because once you have your player pool determined, like, you barely have to go back to this player pool to show. I mean, you could start adding more people. Like, let's say Washington. Like, maybe I like Washington a little bit more. So I'm going to go to the excluded tab, and I'm going to start adding some Washington players. Maybe I want Soto, even in a lefty-lefty matchup. They're going to be low owned against Ryu, but who knows? So you had 2, you had Rendon, and that's good. So now that you have Washington stacks, you'll get some more of those. As you see, a lot of this is trial and error. You know, you're going strategically in your head and building lineups and then tweaking them as you go through it. So let's say I'm going to go through some of these. Let's make sure I have that a couple of Flaherty lineups that I put in. See, I put minimum 5% and I'm getting 5%. I put a minimum 5% and I'm getting 5%. I'm getting more. I want a lot of Lance Lynn. I'm getting a lot of Lance Lynn. But maybe too much Lucchesi. Maybe 23%, a little too much, a little. I set it to 20. And maybe I actually want a lot of, I'm playing Seattle stacks against Daniel Norris. Also understand, when you're playing 150 lineups, you can play the pitcher and the stack against him in competing lineups. Because if one does well, the other does bad. If one does bad, the other does well. You could do that when you're playing 150 lineups. You could do that if you're playing 20 lineups. You could go for both outcomes if you like. It depends on what you're planning out strategically. So let's say I only want 20%. Let's say I really want to be over the field on Lance Lynn. Like 23% is not enough for me. I want it to be at least 30. So there you go, min-max exposure. This is what you're doing on individual players. So I'm going back to the batters and then starting to see, okay, I'm getting a lot of Conforto. Maybe I don't want Conforto all that much. Max him out at 20. Nelson Cruz, he had 3 home runs the other day, right? Is he going to be able to do it again? Maybe he is going to be able to do it again. Nate Lowe, I got Miguel. So I got a lot of Twins here. So maybe I'm a little overweight on the Twins. I got VR 20. I got, if you take a look, we're going down, scrolling down these min-max exposure settings. You're pretty much getting what it is that you're putting in. You're not just letting the optimizer choose for you. You're setting it. You're in control. So let's say I go all the way down to the bottom. I see guys that I'm barely getting. Like, why not? I'm not getting enough Aaron Hicks. So I'm going to make sure to get at least 5%. Not getting enough Castellanos. Not getting enough Vogelback. Not getting enough Noah Gordon. DJ LeMahieu, I want 5. You know, just I'm making up these numbers as we go along. But I mean, you could see, compared to the projected ownership, how much more of you want. You want more JP Crawford. Not getting enough Blue Jays because they're only in like 2 lineups. Oh, I want so much more Baltimore. Why aren't I getting 8? So you go through that. So now I'm going to the bottom. I go, who do I want more of? And then let's build projections again. Let's build the lineups again. This is the process you should be going through. Optimizers aren't about like, oh, I just have to change 2 settings, press generate lineups, and then win all the monies, right? It doesn't work that way. If it worked that way, we'd all be rich. So it's a matter of setting everything, planning everything out, and doing everything strategically yourself. Okay, so look, I put in 30% Lance Lynn. I'm getting 34%. I'm getting a lot even more than I want. So that's pretty good. I'm getting my Atlanta stacks here. I'm getting my Tampa Bay guys, right? My Dodgers are coming up, right? The things that I wanted to do. Now, on this specific slate, I don't know if that's the best thing strategically. Like I said, I haven't necessarily researched the slate all that much, but this is the type of process that I'd be going through. Going to the bottom. Because, you know, those guys that I wanted a little bit more of. So, like, look, DJ LeMahieu, 5%. I'm getting 6% Aaron Hicks. I'm getting those guys. So maybe I go to the bottom and go, I'm not getting enough Kyle Seager now. Oh, now I need 5% there. These Brewers I'm not getting enough of. So I go down there. I'm not getting enough Eddie Rosario. I want 8%, 9% Eddie Rosario. All right, I'm going through here. Not enough Michael Pineda. Maybe I should be getting 10% Michael Pineda. Going through that. Building 150 lineups again. Let's see what happens. It's not all that complicated. Using projections and seeing what comes out, and then customizing and tailoring your lineup builds so you get enough diversification, especially when you're playing 150 lineups. So you're putting yourself in the position to have multiple outs. If I have a lot of Brave stacks, I have Brave stacks, but with 3 other guys in it. I have Braves Rays. I have Braves Seattle. I have Braves with 4 different types of pitchers. Those types of things. So we got 150 lineups, and look, I'm getting even more Lance Lynn. Great. And we go down to the bottom. We see those guys that we boosted up. Yep, now I'm getting some more of these guys. So this is what you'd be doing. You could even organize it. For instance, let's say you're still getting too much of a guy. This is the last thing that I wanted to show you. A lot of people never touch the projections. I touch them all the time. Because remember, the optimizer is going to care more about this point per dollar range. So let's say I'm getting too much G-Man Choi, and the max exposure isn't even like, it's not limiting it enough because it's trying to spend my salary. So I'll go in and change his projection from 12.47 to, let's say, 11. So now he's only 4.6. Tyler Austin, maybe I'm getting too much of. I'm going to bump him down to 9. So he's only at 4.3 point per dollar. And you could do that. Remember, I was getting way too much Willy Adames, right? I may want him in stacks, but I don't want him as a, one-off in the middle of nowhere. So maybe I want very much less, like only in stacks. I'll lower his projection to 8. So now he's only 4x, maybe even less than that. 7, 3.5, which means more likely the optimizer is going to throw him more into stacks than as a one-off shortstop. So you could go through and you could do all this. Or maybe I cut him down to 10. Cut Randall Gritchett. I want probably too much of him, but now to maybe 9.6. Okay, I'm overriding the projections to get the optimizer to do what I want. It's not about the projection. It's about getting the lineup builds that you want. So going through here, even though I put in what? Let's go to Randall Gritchett right here. Or let's go to Willy Adames, right? I said a max 15%. I'm getting 15%, but I dramatically decreased his projection. So let's build 150 lineups and see what happens. When Adames is now 3.5x and not 4.2x or whatever. If you see, it's all about the person using the lineup builder. It's not about the lineup builder. So going through this, it'll be the last build of the show. Because you have to go and experiment and use these features. So going through, it's almost there. Okay, there we go. Let's try to find Adames. Where's Adames? Oh, I'm scrolling down. Don't find much of him. Where is he? Where'd he go? Is he there anywhere? Is he even in there? Did I put him down too much that he's not even there? Okay, there, 13. Okay, he went down a little. I got too many Tampa Bay stacks. But these are the features that you should be using. You could use groups to make anything you want to do. But the main thing that you can be looking at are the hitter stack section, right? Setting your stack exposure, setting your, if you want to customize how much of a stack that you want, condensing your player pool so you're only playing the players that you want to play, and then going through multiple lineup builds and looking compared to the projected ownership, finding your leverage and building the lineups that you want, especially when you're playing 150 of them. And then you go and you export to CSV, you cut and paste that into your FanDuel CSV that you downloaded, the template, you upload it there via desktop. We may be able to do it on mobile, and hope to win one of the $1,000 prizes or the RG swag in the free roll today. So if you need more information on that free roll, you go to the RG forum, you click on the link in the forum thread there, and there you can enter into the free roll, and let's see, put in 150 lineups. Why not? It's free no matter what. So go make all the lineups that you want, and let's see if this. I'm going to play these, even if some guys may not even actually be in the lineup, And if I win anything, you just follow me on Twitter at Blenderhd, and I'll give something away. So if you have any more questions, I'm always available in the Discord, the RG Discord. Click on that top in the navigation on the RotoGrinders website. Attach your RotoGrinders profile. I'm typically in the MLB or the BAT channel. And if you have any more questions about LineupHQ, just find me there. So until next time for another LineupHQ tutorial, build 150 lineups. Let's see who gets lucky tonight.